Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on a cold Tuesday afternoon in Nashville, an hour and a half away from the Music City Bowl between Tennessee and Illinois. Vandy, of course, plays tomorrow down in Tampa. And with that in mind, we'll head down there here in just a second. Kelly Holcomb is alongside from Murfreesboro. Kelly, how you doing?
George, how you doing?
I'm good. What's going on?
I don't know it, man. What's going on with you? You feeling better?
You know, I am feeling better. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Doesn't that warm your heart, George?
It really does, because that one came out of left field for me. I was like, he acted concerned, and then I thought, no, it's Kelly. No way.
I am concerned, man. You know, last couple of days you've been a little under the weather, and you were getting a little worried.
Oh, I was a little bit. Well, given some issues that happened about 20 years ago with voice problems, yeah, I was a little bit concerned. You're
not getting any younger, George, you know?
Yeah, I knew that's what was coming. Thanks to you as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, in a moment, we will begin the show by going down to Tampa, Florida. Our buddy Frank from Smyrna is down there as part of the festivities. It's now called the ReliaQuest Bowl. I always knew it as the Outback Bowl in Tampa. And that's where Vandy and Iowa will get together tomorrow. Kelly, I think Vandy will have their hands full because Iowa is a really good fundamental football team that if you beat them, you're going to have to beat them.
And they've made their name by their defense. Offensively, they've had their struggles. They have their struggles, it seems like, every year offensively. But defensively, man, they're solid as they come. They're going to make you earn every yard you get. They're playing a really good Vanderbilt team, as we know, that is hard to defend. And you don't see the offense that Vanderbilt runs every week, but they've had a little bit more time to get ready for it, get used to it, to practice against it. So it's going to be interesting to see how Vanderbilt plays against this Iowa defense. Now, offensively, Iowa, like I said, they kind of struggle. So I can see this being a close game because Iowa's defense is really good.
So our buddy Frank from Smyrna is down there, has living quarters down near that area. Frank, how you doing?
I'm good, George. How you doing?
Doing really good. So kind of paint the picture for us of what this has been like the last couple of days.
Oh, it's been just really incredible. First of all I ever wanted as a Vanderbilt fan my whole life growing up in Tullahoma was to go to a Florida Bowl game at New Year's and see Vanderbilt play. Well, I'm getting my chance. And I got to tell you, I'm over here at Clearwater Beach at the Hilton Resort for anybody that's familiar with the area. And a lot of Iowa fans here, probably more so than Vanderbilt, but we're represented. Don't worry about that. We're represented. We're loud and proud. I attended the, today was the beach day for the teams and the bands and the cheerleaders. And that was really neat. They had all kinds of contests. The bands performed. Coach Ferentz for Iowa spoke to the crowd. Clark Lee spoke to the crowd as well. It just a really good time. We're just all having fun. And George, if we're being true to ourselves, we're enjoying the warm weather here because that's about to change real soon. we're gonna get the same cold front that blew through Nashville. So it's coming.
On Sunday night, we went from upper 60s to about 30. So what's it supposed to be like down there?
They're talking a low on. Let me see here. They're talking low on Tuesday morning of 47, and a low of Wednesday morning of about 43. Game time temperature about 57, 58 degrees, but it's going to be sunny. So that's a good thing. It's just no more 75-degree weather like it's been pretty much the last week down here.
Yeah, and I would think, in particular, Iowa wouldn't want 75 because they haven't played in anything remotely like 75 in about 3-4 months. But let me ask this question. In Tampa, in and around that area, is this a bowl game that gets a lot of attention, or is it all Tampa Bay Bucks?
I mean, the TV stations have been promoting it down here. I know I've seen a couple of I saw the local NBC and the local Fox affiliate here in Tampa, out covering the beach day. But I don't know that it's really moving the needle here as far as I think your college football fans. I've talked to some here that are like, I think we're going to go so we can see Diego Pavia play. But from what I'm gathering, I don't think this game's a sellout by any means. I don't think tickets are a real problem. If anybody listening wants to hurry up and get to Tampa by Wednesday morning, you can get a ticket, no problem. And it's more Tampa Bay Bucks, and quite honestly, what the heck is wrong with those guys? I mean, people are talking about that. In fact, George, you mentioned the Tampa Bay Bucks. Today, I crossed paths with a former Nashville sports reporter that lives now down here in Clearwater, Florida, and she said to tell you hello. That would be Sarah Walsh.
Oh, Sarah's a good one. She has had a really good career. She was, of course, at WKRN Channel 2 locally, and, I see her on network assignments from time to time. She's doing really well.
Yep, she really is. She says she looked rather tired, and she had her 2 kids with her, and her husband was not with her, but she's looked tired, and she told me she's ready to take a break. She said, "I've been going nonstop for 4 months now," because she covers soccer for Fox Sports in addition to the NFL for the NFL Network, and she says she's happy to have a home game, quote unquote, this coming Saturday for the Buccaneers of the Carolina Panthers over here at Raymond James Stadium. Good seats available, as I'm being told. I don't know.
He actually married a former Vandy pitcher.
Yeah, she was telling me about that, and I remember it, Matt Bushman, from way back in call it the early Corbin years. But yes, they're doing quite well, and said to tell you hello. So I thought I would take this opportunity to tell you who I've crossed paths with today. It's nice to catch up with her. She's friends with a childhood friend of mine who's married to John Dwyer, who used to be at Channel 2 as well.
Gotcha.
So it was neat to catch up with her again. It's been a long time, but yeah. So I talked to some of Vanderbilt's players today. They're excited. They're ready to go. I think this is going to be a really good game. I met one of the Iowa players' parents, number 91 for Iowa. He's a defensive lineman. I met his family today, and we think this is going to be a really good game. Iowa's got a really tough defense. Can Pavia and Vanderbilt wear them down? That's going to be the key. If I think and I told them, I felt like if Pavia and the offense could figure their defense out in the first half, that Vandy was going to win the game pretty easily. But I kind of expect a close game.
Yeah.
I really do. And I told them I expected a close game.
Oh, I think it'll be. I think this will
matchup.
be a really tough deal, and it'll look like a lot of black and gold on television because Iowa's colors are very similar. They have kind of a Pittsburgh Steeler look to them. And,
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Last thing I want to know from you. What are they saying down there baseball-wise, and do you hear anything about Nashville?
I am not hearing any more about Nashville. They have fixed Tropicana Field. The roof is back on it. They are on track, as I have been told from asking people down here, to have their home opener. I think, as I understand, the Rays are being sent on the road maybe the first 10, 12 games of the season to give them a couple more weeks. but they say they're on track for their home opener in mid-April, and there's talk with they have new ownership now. They're Florida-based owners, and they're going to try to figure out what they're going to do about a new ballpark. But there's no more talk that I'm hearing of the team leaving town. I think they're planning to stay here unless they just can't get a ballpark deal done. But
I think that's that. The part about them staying there seems to have been resolved. Only time will tell, but it appears that the new ownership is committed to staying there and committed to trying to get a ballpark. And I hope for their sake that they're able to.
I would agree. The Rays, and I've told people down here, look, being from Nashville, I don't want to steal anybody's baseball team. I don't. What I want to see with Nashville and Major League Baseball, give us an expansion team. That's what I want to see. That we can watch grow like we did with the Predators, 20 plus years ago. That's what I want to see. I don't want to take somebody else's baseball team. And I even had, it's funny you mentioned about baseball, George, real quick. I had a guy ask me last night about the Chicago White Sox and what's going on with Nashville as it pertains to the White Sox. And I told the guy I didn't believe it for a minute. I said, I don't believe for a minute that they're moving to Nashville. I think he's just using Nashville as leverage to get him a new ballpark.
Oh,
he didn't have a whole lot good to say about Jerry Rodsdorf. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I can't repeat what he said.
That ship has sailed. Partly because I think some folks who were looking into maybe trying to move it found out.
Yeah,
and I think rightfully so that the American League owners are not willing to let the city of Chicago out of their sights, and I don't blame them for that. They should want to keep it.
Yeah, I don't either. I told the guy, relax. We're not taking this baseball team. And I said, I believe Nashville will have baseball within 10 years from now, but I believe it's going to be an expansion team is what I told him. So
yeah. I think you're right about that.
And I think I made him feel a little bit better about his team. And I just told him he needed to get a team because there was no reason for them to be as bad as they've been. But,
Yeah, such is life. Hey, you were really good to do this on short notice. Enjoy the good weather,
problem, George.
Get your team a win, and let's see how it all plays out.
I sure will. Looking forward to it. I'm just going to soak it all in because, like I said, us Vanderbilt fans soak this all in. And I just like to say, if there are any Vandy fans back home listening, get down here. Get down here if you're able to. We need you. We need your support. There's a lot of Iowa fans here. And while they've all been really great and I've enjoyed hanging out with them, I want to win the game. And I want Vanderbilt to be well represented. We've been asking for this for years. Go out. Let's go.
Frank, thank you.
Yes, sir, George. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, Kelly, give me a couple of thoughts about having to play Iowa. Because a couple of years ago, nationally, they caught a lot of grief because their offense got nothing done. You don't hear that as much now. What you do hear is really solid football team.
They are a solid football team, but they still struggle offensively, George. They truly do. Now they may come out and play lights out, in this game, but they're a really good football team. Kurt Ferentz has been there for a long time. I think is he the longest tenured head coach in college football? Yeah. I can remember. I can remember when I was in Cleveland and they knew that our head coach was going to get, he got let go, and everybody talked about, because he was there with Marty Schottenheimer and those guys. I think he kind of learned under him, and everybody was talking about Kurt Ferentz being the new Cleveland Browns head coach, and that was back in the early 2000s. So it's amazing the kind of tradition that he's got at the University of Iowa and how long he's been there. And you just don't hear of that anymore with a guy staying as long as he stayed. And he's won Big Ten championships. He's had some really good football teams. And I promise you this, they'll be ready to play. And they're going to be tough to play, and they're fundamentally sound in what they do. They don't beat themselves. And if Vanderbilt's able to win this game, it'll be a good win under their belt.
Okay, we'll go to the break on that. And when we come back, we'll get into the Music City Bowl, about an hour and 15 minutes away from kickoff between Tennessee and Illinois. Tony Basilio will join us from Knoxville on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling. They enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Here's David Levy of Levy's Men's and Women's Wear in Green Hills.
Hey, George. As a 170-year-old clothier, we are loaded for the holiday season with great gift items for you or your significant other. Plus, we have front door parking, experienced associates to answer your questions, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable, even for you. This holiday season, treat yourself to a touch of luxury without any of the fuss. Levy's Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. We are back, and we welcome all of you in to day 2 of the Battle of Nashville. High school basketball teams in and around the Nashville area, although 3 or 4 are from outside of the area. One as far away as California. That one kind of caught me off guard when I heard that earlier. Providence Christian is one of the teams, and those who have seen that club play, wow, are they loaded.
They're legit. And they were not this good when I was in high school playing against them. So,
well, they have definitely gotten there. We're awaiting a visit from Tony Basilio. Tennessee and Illinois a little more than an hour away from playing. So what is the opt-out situation at Tennessee?
Chris Brazel, wide receiver, Colton Hood, Jermod McCoy, and Arion Carter. I know there's one more. I'll have to look it up. But those are the 4 major ones that have opted out. Basically, anybody with a real shot of going day 1 or day 2 has opted out for Tennessee.
And I guess Illinois, honestly, I don't really know. What I do know is Luke Altmaier, pretty good quarterback. And as Tony told us, at one point, a guy that Tennessee took a look at.
Yeah, they were looking at him last year. I know they kind of negotiated with Josh Hoover of TCU, but he was set on staying with Sonny Dykes and the Horned Frogs. Now he's in the portal this time around, so it'll be interesting to see if Tennessee is a legit dog in the race for Josh Hoover. Brendan Sorsby obviously is the other one as well, but we'll just have to wait and find out.
Kelly, I think this one's going to be really interesting to see what level of juice Tennessee brings to the table. It's been a month since Vandy beat them, or 25, 26 days, whatever the exact, I guess it is more like a month. It's been a month since that happened, and that should be sufficient time to kind of move on, but I'll ask it, is it?
And I don't know, George. I really don't. You got guys that opt out that are pretty important to your team. So, and I think what you said it hits the nail on the head. Is do they have any juice? I know it's going to be in the Music City Bowl. I know it's a state of Tennessee, and I know that the last time they were in the Music City Bowl, there was a lot of people there, and it was decked out in orange.
I was there.
I just don't know if they have any juice. I mean, I know that Heupel's been talking about Aguilar, and he's talked about how good their week of prep has been, or their month of prep has been. But I mean, how do you truly know when you get to this time of year in this new outlook of college football? Are your guys going to be ready to play when it comes to that? Or are they just going through the motions? I think you saw what going through the motions the other night when Missouri got beat by Virginia. I mean, they were just going through the motions. And is that what you're going to get? Or are you going to get a team that is ready to compete one more game? I'm just not sure. It'll be interesting to see what Tony has to say about that.
Joshua Joseph is the other guy that's opted out, defensive end. He's projected to be, I think, a second-round pick is what I've seen. So those are the 5 main opt-outs for Tennessee. I'm not sure how many Illinois has on their side, but my guess would be it doesn't sound like a lot.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, because I know from a fan base standpoint that there's been sort of a pitching in of the towel and the sky is falling kind of henny penny kind of feeling. But to me, this is a chance to change all that for the better, to play in front of 55, 60,000 and have, a good feel to close as opposed to the other way around.
I think you're right, George, and I think the bowls give you a good chance. Like, some of the guys that haven't played are going to be able to play. So this is kind of like a spring practice. I don't know how much longer spring practices are going to be honest with you, but this is a good spring practice deal where you've got a whole another month where you've got an opportunity to look at kids that haven't played that you think, hey, is he going to be something for us this coming up fall, or are we going to have to move on from him, or things like that. So I think that's a good part of where you're at right now. If you're Josh Heupel and this program, is you can look at some guys that you hadn't really thought about, that you hadn't seen play, that you could get in some game experience, and to see if that happens with them. So there's just all news and all this stuff, man. It's just it's different. It's different for everybody. It's different for the fans. It's different for the coaches. It's different for the players too. So it's going to be interesting to see just what UT team shows up. I think Illinois is kind of in a different situation. I don't think, you talk about blue bloods, you talk about SEC teams, and UT kind of sits in that category, I would think. But Illinois is, they're not considered a Big Ten power. So I think that you would have, I'm sure there's going to be some guys opt out for them, but I would think that most of their team would play. And, I know that their coaching staff are looking at it the same way. So it's going to be interesting to see just how this game turns out and how it plays out.
Tell you what we'll do. We've had trouble getting with Tony. Let's take a break a couple of minutes early, see if we can get him on. And so that's what we will do. This, from Franklin, Tennessee, is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Here's David Levy of Levy's Men's and Women's Wear in Green Hills.
Hey, George, as a 170-year-old clothier, we are loaded for the holiday season with great gift items for you or your significant other. Plus, we have front door parking, experienced associates to answer your questions, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable, even for you. This holiday season, treat yourself to a touch of luxury without any of the fuss. Levy's Green Hills, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den.
Here's Officer Garen Hoskins for the Metro Nashville Police Department.
The Metro Nashville Police Department is on the forefront of policing in this century, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I'm glad I get to find other good officers, other future good officers. And if you're watching today, or you yourself or someone you happen to know is interested, join mnpd.com. Feel free to reach out to us because we need good officers, and it's a great city to work for.
We are back here in Franklin. I'm told that we have made connection with Tony Basilio, and he will join us here in a matter of seconds. And Kelly, I know he'll be interested in the fact that you seem very alert and very into the show.
Thanks, George. I'm always alert and very into the show and very focused.
When has Kelly not been one positive and two alert? Okay, Kelly's the most positive person I know. By the way, Kelly, I watched Grinch over the Christmas break, and I thought of you.
Oh, you've been waiting to say that for weeks.
His heart grew three times on my shoulders.
I wish the Gong Show was still around so you could get gong for that stupid thing you just said.
Hey, put the pins in your pocket back, nerd.
Wow.
George, this dude's trying to call me Skolnick now after I've been calling him Skolnick for 3 months.
Someone's got to say it.
Got to come up with his own line.
Come up with your own stuff. Everybody tries to steal my stuff. Come up with your own stuff.
Creative.
But you know, Billy
nerd.
William had that problem as well.
He did. William, they're just young. They don't know how to take care of themselves. Mommy give you some warm milk tonight, Parker. You'll be fine.
Let's check in Knoxville. Tony Basilio. Wow, what's he got on there? Got the cat.
American Legion. Is that American Legion?
Go Flyers, baby.
Everybody's a comedian. Some people are comedians. Some people are comedians.
And Parker's a comedian.
Happy
you
New
too,
Year.
brother.
I love you, boys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Tony, kind of tell us just your gut feeling. And I know this is hard to predict.
Yep.
What level of juice does Tennessee bring to this Music City Bowl game?
I don't know. I think your natural sound, George, on today's show is bringing a lot more juice than both these teams are going to bring. It sounds like the Beastie Boys are cutting a new track with George in the background there. Sounds like a riot going on behind George throughout today's show, Kelly. I really enjoyed the natural sound with George. Have you guys pre-medicated for the festivities here? Anyway,
Wow.
you know, George, to me, thinking about this game, right? That is the $1 million question with all these bowl games is what's your juice level? Used to be you would never, ever, ever, ever question any of these teams' juice level. Now you've really got to say, who does the game mean more to? It means a lot to Tennessee from the standpoint that if I were to say to you, hey, you finished the year 9-4 versus you were on that team that went 8-5. 8-5 is that's not a good record. For Illinois, though, this is a huge opportunity against the Southeastern Conference team, and it really matters. You know, and I got this winter cap on today because we're going to be on later tonight for our post game show. George, these frigid conditions which have hit us here in Tennessee across the state, just all of a sudden, I tell you what, I expect, even though it is kind of cold, I expect both these teams to score a lot of points in this football game. Tennessee simplified, and I quote unquote, they've simplified their defense, whatever that means. I mean, what were they doing against Vanderbilt? If that wasn't simple, what was that? It looked like a simpleton drew that up. So, from that perspective, probably Illinois has more juice for this game. I think it just probably means more to them. Tennessee's an opportunity for them, an SEC opportunity. They see the Vols as a high-level signature game. I'm not sure Tennessee sees Illinois in the same light.
Let me ask all of you this question. I hear this a lot, that a bowl win means momentum for the next year. I think that's a load of crap. What do you all think?
I'll start. I think it's a load of crap as well because we've seen with teams in the past, especially in this transfer portal NIL era, did Florida State's 13-0 success carry over to the next season? Nope, because you have an entirely different team going into the next year. So I don't think it does. Maybe in the old era, maybe a little bit, but I don't buy into that.
Kelly?
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better, George. I mean, I don't think it bowl games, and that's why I keep saying this. I said it, yesterday, but I'm worried about the bowl situation because I don't think it means what it used to mean. I think if you're out of the 12-team playoff, your fans think you're a loser. Some of them may show up, but most of them aren't. They're not going to worry about it anymore. I feel that that's what it's going to be, and it doesn't carry the same weight as back in the day when we all stayed as kids. We were excited about the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Rose Bowl, all those bowls. I don't think it means what it used to.
Kelly, they've trained us that it doesn't matter. The coaches were the first to do it. The coaches can point at players all they want for opting out. What about what coaches used to? Their coaches would have teams that run the table. Like I remember when one of the Bowdens won all their games at Tulane and walked out on like an unbeaten team. Hey, thanks, guys. I got the Clemson job. See you later. And he's at Tulane. I remember when Brian Kelly did that at Cincinnati. Left Cincinnati to get down to the Sugar Bowl to get waxed by Florida. He couldn't even be bothered to go to the game. Thanks, guys. Glad y'all came to practice all year. Thanks. These coaches have nobody to cry to, as far as I'm concerned. They're the ones that laid the ground rules here that the kids are simply everybody's acting in their own best interest. George, these bowl games are exhibitions. I think soon we're going to get to the point where we're going to start asking, should they count on your final record? I really do. Because like the other night, I'm watching Penn State, or the other afternoon, I'm watching Penn State and Clemson play. Clemson had 27 opt-outs. 20, and Penn State's playing the game, and they got a 2-touchdown win over Clemson. Was that Clemson Penn State played? I mean, at Clemson's, no offense, but at Clemson's, they had their uniform on, but that wasn't their football team. I mean, that wasn't the team that played all year. And so the one thing I'll say about this Music City Bowl, and if somebody in the footprint's watching and they're in a stone's throw of the stadium and they can stand the weather, you're going to see pretty much these two teams. I mean, these two teams have few opt-outs, but not a tremendous number compared to some other games. And that's one of the things that has me intrigued for this game that kicks off shortly, is there's not both starting quarterbacks are playing. Both teams are replete with their offensive stars. Look, Illinois is missing one of the best linemen. Tennessee's missing one of their best defensive linemen. Tennessee has a linebacker that opted out this year. He's getting ready for the NFL draft. Hood from their secondary has opted out. So
haven't seen Jermon McCoy all year.
Do what?
Haven't seen Jermon McCoy all year.
Yeah.
He's opted out even though he hasn't played.
Yeah. McCoy was, McCoy tried to go this year. He gets A++ from me. The guy that kind of surprised me is the Hood kid who at one point was getting a first-round grade and getting first-round signals from the NFL. And then as the year went on and he got picked on and didn't play as well, had slid to the NFL's third day. And I had heard that he was thinking about, kind of debating playing in the game and coming back next year. And he just decided, you know what, I'm just going to jump in and I'm just going to go. And who can blame the guy?
Tony, this is the last thing I'm going to ask you, and then I'll turn it over to Kelly, who is very alert, kind of the way you'd like for him to be.
Yes.
Why are schools not putting contractually you must play in the bowl if we go? What is it that's stopping them from doing that?
Well, they can't. These aren't pay-for-play contracts, George. These kids have. We're still. I mean, it's that simple. These are not pay-for-play contracts. These contracts these kids have are name, image, and likeness contracts. They're not performance-based. They're not any of those things. So they're marketing agreements. I mean, it is the dumbest, most idiotic insult to anybody's intelligence. If anybody thinks that these are marketing agreements, okay, Arch Manning might have a marketing agreement. Give me somebody else in college football that's got a big enough name to go out and lay claim to having marketing agreements. But that's where we are. What's going to be interesting, guys, is this portal opens Friday. It's going to be total chaos. And all these schools are ignoring. When I hear the numbers that are flying around for these quarterbacks, these schools right now, guys, are ignoring the quote-unquote clearinghouse as if they have to justify. I'm going to pay you $4.5 million. Like I'm going to get that from the local, the local pizzeria? The local car dealer? I mean, what are you kidding me?
Is Tony, is that what the ongoing market price is for a starting quarterback?
Hey,
$4.5 million?
The guy from Cincinnati who Texas Tech's getting ready to get. Okay.
Sorsby.
$4.5 million. And the reason I know that an agent friend of mine, Tennessee's tried to get involved with him and they got sticker shock. Anybody would. There are quarterbacks. If you're a pretty good quarterback right now, you're getting $3 million. $3 million if you're pretty good.
Okay, I've asked you this before, and this just brings up a thought in my head. Are these kids signing anything? They don't sign anything, do they not? So, like, what if a Sorsby kid goes to Texas Tech and they say they're going to give him $4.5 million, and they just say, "Yeah, you didn't play good. We're going to give you this and this." Is it contractual deal for them? Are they signing anything?
Well, again, they're signing marketing agreements. Those NIL deals are marketing agreements. That's what they are.
So that's what it is. It's marketing agreements.
They're not pay-for-play agreements. And that's
They're
why
not.
when George said, why can't they just claw back some of that money? Like if you don't show up for a bowl game, if you do that and you get a reputation as somebody that's being vindictive toward the quote-unquote student athlete, and these agents, it's going to be hard for them for you to do business with. You got to rely on these agents and these pipelines. And it's the things they're doing to stay out of professional football. Because what they have now is they have an unprofessional sport that leaves fans confused. It gives people like us a lot to talk about, George. I love it. I love chaos. In my business, I don't know if I was a coach if I'd love chaos. In my business, I say, bring it on. Bring on the chaos. Let's go. And it starts on Friday, and it is going to be absolutely wild.
Listen, I just gotta. I want to. How do you manage this as a coach, Tony? And I know you can't answer this, but this is like Josh Heupel says, well, our roster's pretty set right now. We got a couple of guys still making decisions on their futures and getting information. And at the end of the day, as guys go through that for us, for me, and for them, it's always about making the right decision for them, their future, their career, their families, and giving them the good information. How can you operate as a head coach that way? How do you do that?
Well, what that means is after the bowl game, we're running off about a half a dozen guys, which is what's going to happen. We're going to open up some slots like all these guys are. We're encouraging people to get into the portal. We haven't encouraged yet, but we're going to after the bowl game. That's how all these schools are doing. If you watch these games, you play your bowl game, and then you'll see these guys jump. You'll see it. These guys declare that they're going to jump in. You have a couple and a half week window to get in the portal. There are some guys that aren't going to be welcome back here, there, and everywhere that don't know that yet, but that's how it's going to go. They're going to get recruited over, and if they don't, then they get to stay and be a part of the team. I mean, that's what we're getting ready to see. I predict, since all politics are local, and you guys bring me on to talk about the Vols, I predict the Vols add somewhere between 12 and 15 guys. Preponderance of those players are going to be defensive players. They're going to try and get I think a quarterback option of some kind. If they could swing in that $3.5 million range and come down with a pretty good starter, so be it. If they could find somebody from a lower division, which is what an Aguilar was this year. I mean, even though he came from UCLA, but really he's a lower division guy that they coached up to pretty good success. They could go that route. Tennessee's got a pretty quarterback-friendly offense, but they need help. I mean, they need help at safety. They need help in defensive line. They need help at linebacker. They need help on the defensive side of the football.
The Merklinger guys obviously leaving.
Yes.
They've got what did Joey Aguilar mean to this team this year? Just what did he mean?
Well, everything. Look, if they would have gone out and they would have played Merklinger all year, you're probably looking at a 5-7 team. Joey Aguilar saved the season here. Joey Aguilar saved the season. Sure. Joey Aguilar, 100%. They found him on the scrap heap. They made the trade for Nico. It was a trade of a lifetime. Nico was not going to have the year Joey Aguilar had. This Aguilar guy's a really nice deep ball thrower. He's not a willing runner. He's not a great athlete, but he's good enough. Depending on how tonight's game goes, I mean, here's a number for you. You tell me if this is any good. Joey football needs 375 yards passing today to have the school record that Peyton Manning holds for most yards passed in a season. He needs 242 total yards to pass Peyton Manning. He could get the total yards tonight with the running and the passing, maybe. The passing yards, 375. Kelly, I have a better chance, or Phillip Rivers on Sunday probably has a better chance of throwing for 375 than he does tonight, but who knows?
So, Tony, I tried explaining this to Kelly and George 2 weeks ago, and I don't know how well it went over, but what I said was pretending none of this.
Suck at explain. Let's just put it out there. You suck at explaining.
Let me explain this. Okay, so
you suck at it.
If this team was to have Nico, they still would have taken a step back, I believe, because they were losing a lot of pieces in general. So we didn't know anything about this Joey Aguilar kid before the season started. And I said a fair expectation for the Vols was 8-4. And a lot of people are up in arms. Fire Josh Heupel. Fire Josh Heupel. Why? When the expectation before the season started was 8-4.
From
you. Get where I'm going with this?
What was your expectation? You know what the fans thought? Fans thought when they played Georgia off their feet, this team's going to go 10-2 like they did last year and going to go to the playoffs because the schedule's not that hard. And I'm not so sure the fans weren't right to feel that way. But the truth is the Georgia team that you saw and the Georgia team that's playing right now in the playoffs are two different animals.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the nature of this game. You got to beat these teams when they're in front of you. And,
by the way, Kelly and I so appreciate you're trying to teach us. It really means a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and secondly, Parker, I don't need –
that kid probably thinks LeBron James is a better player than Michael Jordan.
Oh, no. No.
See, George,
I'm a Jordan guy.
Think. All these kids, man, these young kids.
Hey.
These young kids today. I like that Parker Kelly, but he needs to get off my lawn.
Tony, I had a Michael Jordan poster in my room. I'm a Jordan guy through and through.
You have credibility, kid. The thing about the what we're about to see, though, is I predict complete and total chaos from the word go. It's going to be a wild portal season. And I think tonight's football game is going to be wild in the Music City, guys. A lot of offense.
A lot of offense.
Do I have time for one more? Because I got to go.
No, absolutely. Okay. I mean, maybe you can teach Tony.
Hey, Tony, let me get this out there. Let's just say this, Parker. I don't need no snotty-nosed little punk trying to teach me something, okay? Okay.
Well,
Kelly,
all right? Kelly, there's no doubt, Kelly, that you're not going to learn it. Never mind. Go ahead, Parker. I'm sorry.
So you know how in college basketball we have the Players Era Festival where the winning team gets however many $1 million, second place team gets this, third place team gets that. What if because no matter how diehard college football fans like you and I try to get back what was old bowl season, we're not going to do it. It doesn't have the same shine. It's lost its luster. What if we incentivize these players by, okay, you win this bowl game, here's how much NIL you get. Or we'll throw the Sun Belt against the GoDaddy Bowl, and the winner of that gets however much money. Do you think that's a good idea?
Well, I mean, it all sounds great in theory till you think about this. The guys that are opting out are NFL players. Those NFL guys, you couldn't throw enough money at them to get them to play in one of these bowl games once their season's over. If they're not competing for a championship, because the truth is, I don't blame them. The next time you walk out on the field could be the last time. Why would I do that unless I'm under contract? And again, we're back to what George asked me earlier. NIL deals, despite what the fans think, are not contracts. They're marketing agreements. I don't have a pay-for-play contract. They won't let me call it that. Kelly, that makes zero sense, doesn't it? That they don't call it pay-for-play contracts because they're paying these kids to play football.
I'm just sitting here thinking, and I said it yesterday, but I'm just sitting here thinking, like, I cannot look my teammates that I've gone 4 years with, and now they don't go 4 years with them anymore anyway. So maybe that's where the loyalty thing comes in. But I cannot look up one of my teammates and I've been through training camp with them. I've been through workouts with them. I've sweated with them, getting up at 5:30 in the morning, going doing some garbage to try to get ready for the season. And I could not look my teammates in the eye and say, hey, guys, I'm better than y'all. I'm not playing this game. I just couldn't do it. I don't know how to do it.
Imagine back in our day, back in the day, like, I'm mid-'80s. I went to school into the early 90s, walking into the locker room and going, hey, guys, good luck in the Citrus Bowl.
Good luck.
I ain't going. You would have had to fight your way out of there. Now they walk up to you and ask you for your autograph. You want to swap jerseys. Hey, give me your phone number. You know, it's a totally different day. Back then, they would have been cleaning the floor with your blood. Back then, am I lying? I'm not.
Oh,
lying.
absolutely not. No, absolutely not. You'd have gotten a fight because if you're costing somebody an opportunity to win a game, or you're causing somebody to run because you did something stupid, if you act like a smart, you're going to get punched in your mouth. That's just the way it was.
They would have gotten you on the ground and they would have beaten you up, and you'd have had assistant coaches over there kicking you when nobody was looking.
The coaches might have joined in on it.
That's right. Yes,
my coaches would have.
But the coaches started all this. I don't know, guys. I don't know how to feel about today's game. I know this. This is the thing that's not fair, George, at the end of the day. If Josh Heupel wins this game today, it'll be Tennessee's best win of the year, which is a really strange thing to say, but it's true. They've beaten one other team that's in a bowl game, and that's Mississippi State, who qualified at 5-7 because they couldn't have enough teams to fill out the dance card. Now, that's pretty pathetic. But come buy tickets to go watch a 5-7 team. Just like yesterday afternoon, you know, I'm pretty hard up. You can tell by looking at me. But I ain't hard up enough to watch two Sunbelt teams, one of whom got in because they didn't have enough teams to fill out the dance card. I mean, damn, man. I'd rather like do something a day early or whatever, you know. But you know, at the end of the day, guys, tonight in Nashville, when that ball kicks off here in a little while, it's going to be on. It's still college football. It's still a lot of fun. The guys that are playing are there because they want to be. It's two quarterbacks that are veteran quarterbacks, one of whom the Vols made a run at and offered north of $2 million, Illinois quarterback, and one of whom the Vols snatched because UCLA threw him out like yesterday's garbage, and he became a really nice story this year. So whichever guy wins this football game today, it's a really good story. Be a really good story for one of these teams.
Tony, do this. When the game is over tonight, 3.5 hours from now, however long it is, how can people listen to your post game?
tclub.team or tonybasilio.com. And what I was going to say, George, is no matter the result, if Heupel wins tonight, Tennessee fans will go, who cares? It's the Music City Bowl. That's what's going to happen. If Tennessee loses, they're going to jump on him, and they're going to be on him like white on rice, like he just lost a real championship game. Now, that is – Now, look, you make $10 million for a reason in these deals, but I'm telling you, coming out of that Vanderbilt game, these guys are in a new reality. It would behoove him, because I don't know that it has anything to do with next year, unless you start George McIntyre, he throws for 400 yards, and you decide you're not going to have a quarterback next year, not going to have to go into the portal to get a quarterback because he just showed you something tonight. But other than that, I'm not sure. Maybe for a few young players, it's kind of a good thing. And that is kind of something, you know, kind of to watch some of the kids tonight. This Perlotti guy at linebacker, I love him because he does things. I mean, unlike some of the other he just does things. He commits a lot of penalties. It's like he's a personal foul machine at this point. I love him. I mean, you watch him tonight. You watch if he doesn't commit a personal foul. Watch him. He's a wild man out there. But
I love it.
Hey, Basilio.
Tony, Happy New Year to you.
Hey, I love you guys. And, George, I love the Nat sound. The show's been so fun today with that riot going on in the background.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
He is a beauty. Basilio with his weekly visit here on the show. When we come back, we'll start hour number 2. Terry McCormick will join us, and we'll get his reaction to what went on at Notre Dame yesterday. And did that mean anything in Titans land? Because there are those nationally that say the Titans were kind of poking around. This is the George Plaster Show. If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. We welcome all of you into the 4 o'clock hour here on the show. George Plaster, Kelly Holcomb, Parker Kelly with you. The Tennessee-Illinois game about 30 minutes away from kicking off over at Nissan Stadium as part of the Music City Bowl and its festivities. But it's time now for our daily Titans update. Terry McCormick, of course, is Main Street Media. He is TitanInsider.com, and he joins us to talk a little bit. Terry, thanks as always.
Thank you, George. I'm glad that Parker hit a little bit of a shot there that showed that you were at a table, because in that scrunched-in shot, it kind of looked like you were using the tank of a toilet as a desk.
Wow.
Well, that would be surprising. That would not be surprising, Terry.
Okay, fine. So that's how we're going to have it heading into 2026. So, Terry, let me get to what went on in South Bend. Over the weekend, it got out that the Titans had been doing, I don't know, background checks, whatever you want to call it, on Marcus Freeman. And then it got out yesterday that he will remain at Notre Dame for the 2026 season. As best as you can tell, what went down in that process?
George, honestly, I don't put a lot of stock into that. I think that when anytime stuff gets leaked out like that and it's some national person that's not among the prominent ones, it's generally agent driven. If the Titans wanted to interview Marcus Freeman, he's not in the NFL. They could have back-channeled their way to an interview with him anytime they wanted. I think that was probably more of a ploy on Marcus Freeman's part to leverage his situation at Notre Dame for a little more money if he wants it. And then he's happy to stay put once he realizes that no NFL job is going to materialize.
Is it possible it happened?
I wouldn't completely rule it out, but I've not heard anything to that effect, that Marcus Freeman was somebody that was on their radar. Now they're going through and they're sorting through names here left and right, trying to organize a list of candidates that they're going to bring in to talk to. It's possible that Marcus Freeman's name was bannered about a little bit, but I don't put a whole lot of stock into the fact that he was high on their radar.
Diana Rossini put out a list. Oh, I don't know. I guess it's been a week and a half ago now, and it really rankled some people here locally who apparently were not pleased with the list. Anybody new that really hasn't gotten on there?
No, not really. I mean, I've heard a few names, that people have brought up, just mostly in sports talk banner and things like that. But, you hear the usual suspect names. You hear Matt Nagy, you hear Mike McCarthy, you hear Jesse Minter, Chris Shula, Robert Saleh. It's that same core of names. I think Mike Morganzi is supposed to speak with us next Tuesday once, the season concludes and the locker clean out and all has been done. And I think we'll start to get a little more idea of the framework of what they're looking for when he gives that press conference. Now, he's probably not going to throw any names out there, but those will start to surface in the coming days. And then the other thing that you got to consider, which is something I told Kelly yesterday, George, is that you've got to wait to see who gets let go in other spots. Because if a Kevin Stefanski gets sent packing, you've got to immediately add a guy like that to your list. Same thing like if Todd Bowles is let go in Tampa Bay, that's a guy you've got to at least take a look at. So I think the list right now is as complete as it can be given candidates, that are coordinators or former coaches who are in positions that you want to interview. But then you've got to also take time to wait for Black Monday to see if there's anybody that falls that you want to say, hey, that's a guy we need to talk to.
Isn't that really about Mike Tomlin? I mean, when I hear Stefanski, not that it's all his fault, certainly, because of the Deshaun Watson fiasco, but that doesn't really get a lot of, great feeling. Bowles, I hear good things, but when I look at Bowles during a game, I don't see him do anything.
Yeah, I mean, the Bucks have kind of imploded around him this year, and if that job comes open, that's not good news for the Titans because that becomes the most attractive job on the market because, there's already lots of pieces in place, including a solidified franchise quarterback.
Terry, I realize this is going to sound like some University of Tennessee rumor, but is John Gruden still in blackball status?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, he does, he's sort of like Brian Flores. He's got a lawsuit against the league, which is never something that looks good on your resume if you're trying to get back into the league or trying to move up in the league. I wouldn't necessarily think that John Gruden is blackballed completely, but that is a hurdle I think that people would want some answers to if you brought him in for a look.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else we ought to get into?
Just Titans getting ready this week to wrap up the season against Jacksonville. One of the things, and I think we all pretty much feel like Mike McCoy is not getting this job because, there's just not enough sexiness to it, so to speak, to retain him going forward. You need a much, a name that people can latch on to and build hope with. And, but I'll say this, Mike McCoy has done a decent job given the bad situation he's had and how terrible this team was when he took it over. He's not only kept them competitive, but they've actually improved a little bit. So, even though he's probably not in the running to have the job, he made the better of a bad situation when this team could have easily folded the 10 and looked like the Raiders each week.
Does he want the job?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm sure he wouldn't say no if they offered it to him.
But nobody's really asked him that.
I asked him when he first got the job if he'd been made any promises beyond this year, and he said no.
Okay. Terry, good stuff as always.
All right. Thanks, George. Have a good one.
Harry McCormick with his daily Titans update here on the show. We're going to go to the break a little bit early, and then when we come back, we're going to spend the entire 4 o'clock hour on the 4 playoff games that are coming. The first 2, obviously, are Ohio State, Miami, and then Oregon, Texas Tech. We'll do those after the break on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
A golf cart from Mikey's Motors is the perfect way to get around this summer. Whether you're going to the park, the pool, or the playground, do it in a brand new golf cart from Mikey's Motors, Franklin and Murfreesboro.
Summertime fun in Tennessee. That's what we sell at Mikey's Motors. Come see how we roll.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun. Okay, we are back in Franklin, Tennessee, as part of the battle for Nashville that is going on over this 3-day period. Tennessee and Illinois in about 15 minutes over at Nissan Stadium in the Music City Bowl. Tomorrow night, we begin round 2 of the college football playoffs on the Division I level, and we have a rematch of a title game from well over 20 years ago, Ohio State and Miami. And that's been played up significantly, although I don't think it has a dadgum thing to do with what's going to go on this time around. Guys, here's what I want to know from y'all. Up until Indiana basically showed Ohio State, we are your daddy, Ohio State had been this invincible, they're this good, nobody's going to touch them. And all of a sudden, Indiana just put their thumb down and said, not so fast. What did Indiana teach the rest of college football about playing Ohio State?
It's just like when Rocky hit the Russian and he made him bleed. He said, the dude in the corner said they're human. Like Ohio State is human. they can. They've got really good players. I still think they're the best best team in the country. I really do. I just think that Indiana, and everybody's going to say, well, Indiana's got to do it again. Well, we'll see. They play Alabama, and I know we'll talk about that here in a few. But I still think Ohio State is probably the best team in the country. But I think that if you play good and you don't turn the ball over, and you're consistent, you're fundamentally sound, and you can stack up against their O-line and D-line, I think you've got a shot. And I think that's what Indiana showed. And you had the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza. He didn't have you look at his numbers, he had a pretty good game, but he made the plays against Ohio State when they kind of let down. When they had a letdown on defense, he was able to capitalize on those, and most teams in the country can't do that. So I think that they're vulnerable. They're not vulnerable much, but like if you catch them at the right time offensively against their defense, and you can make them pay on some of the things that they do, you got a shot to beat them. And I think that's what Indiana showed.
I love the Rocky reference, Kelly. I think really Indiana's improved so much at the line of scrimmage, and that's what got them over the top against Ohio State, because if you were telling us before that game was played that Indiana's going to score 13 points, we all would have thought that they lost, because Indiana's just been buzzsawing teams scoring 50-plus on their opponents. I think Miami matches up really well with Ohio State, at least in the lines of scrimmage, because the athletes that they have on the offensive line, the athletes that they have in their front seven, even in their secondary, they're elite level athletes, so they match up well. The problem that I'm worried about with Miami is this guy right here, Carson Beck, because Carson Beck did not look great versus Texas A&M, who has a very good defense, but this is a different beast because Matt Patricia is an NFL defensive coordinator who's running an NFL system at Ohio State. So I think he's going to have Carson Beck seeing ghosts. But in terms of line of scrimmage, I think Miami matches up very well, probably better than most teams.
Okay, let's go back to Beck, because the Carson Beck that I saw against Notre Dame when they won in the season opener, Kelly, I don't ever see that Carson Beck again.
Well, we've talked about it, George. His first year at Georgia, he played really well, and then his second year at Georgia, when he got hurt, he had digressed. So you look at this game, and Texas A&M's got a really good defense, but they don't have the defense that Ohio State does. And if you look at Miami, they only scored 10 points against that Texas A&M defense. Now, I know it's hard to go on the road, and it's hard to play, especially when you got 111,000 lunatics in College Station down there. That's a loud place to play, and there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm like Parker, like Carson Beck he's going to have to make some plays in this game. Now, can he? I don't know, but I've said at the beginning of the year, and it's funny that we're at this situation now, because I thought that Miami at the beginning of the year might have been the best team in the country, because I said that Mario Cristobal, he built his team right. He built it up front on both sides of the football, offensive line and defensive line wise. But, I think that Carson Beck is going to have to make plays in this game, and I'm just not sure that he can, because when you talk about Ohio State and their defense, they can rush the passer, they've got linebackers that can run, and they got DBs that are NFL DBs. So can he make the plays? It's going to be interesting to see, but I just don't know. His track record the last couple of years has shown that he's not that guy, and I just don't know if he can.
Here's the thing that, as I go back and think about Ohio State a year ago, Michigan had beaten them, and the Wolves were absolutely howling. So much so that about 35,000 University of Tennessee fans were able to get into their stadium when the playoff began. The problem was that Ohio State hit Tennessee with a Mack truck early, and for all intents and purposes, the game was over really early. The pressure was off. But what happens if this one is close, and it stays close, and it stays close? Pressure all of a sudden, doesn't it totally turn on Ohio State?
Yeah, you're probably right, George. But look at it. These two universities, and you talked about the national championship where Miami ended up winning, but they've had 14 national championships between them, 9 for 9 for Ohio State and 5 for the University of Miami. So these teams have been, although these group of teams, but their tradition has been used to big games. And this Ohio State is used to big games. They're used to being in big time atmospheres. And last year, obviously they get beat by Michigan, and that was one thing. And I tend to agree with you. If they get beat by Michigan and then Tennessee goes up there and beats them, I don't think Ryan Day's the coach, which is kind of crazy to me. Now, we might be totally wrong about that, but they ended up, and sometimes a defeat. Nick Saban's talked about this, where he's lost 2 games in a year and they still won a national championship. Sometimes defeat is not a bad thing. And then when they get beat by their arch rival, that kind of got those guys refocused. So I don't think it has any effect on those guys because they've been in big games. They've been in big moments before. I will say this. I think that, Julian Sayin is a young guy. He's a redshirt freshman. He was in the Heisman, he was in the Heisman race for a long time. I think he had close to 80% completion percentage this year. It was like 78.2 or something like that. So the kid can play. But with all that being said, now it's getting into the time where, is his redshirt freshman experience going to show up in a big game? Because he's gotten all these games under his belt, but is that going to show up at the most inopportune time? Now, I think when he showed against the Michigan game earlier in the year, where his second pass of the game, he threw an interception and he came back and he played really well. I think that's the kind of guy he is, but how is he going to hold up since we've made this top 12 in this college football playoff such a big time atmosphere? How is he going to respond if something bad happens early in the game against this Miami team who showed against Texas A&M that, hey, defensively they're pretty good and they can get after you?
In all fairness, too, Kelly, we hadn't seen Ohio State trailing in a ball game until the Big Ten championship. So if you were to tell me that this game is close all throughout, I'd say that absolutely benefits Miami, because if you look at how Mario Cristobal has built this team specifically this year, it starts from the inside out. And he's an offensive line guy. That's who he is, a heart plate offensive line. He's got pieces from Miami that he's recruited out of the state of Florida to be on that offensive line, guys that he's pulled from the portal, guys that he's developed on the defensive line. He hired away Corey Heatherman from Minnesota, who wants to do one thing, and that's punch you in the mouth. So I think that this game would benefit Miami if it were close, because it may be the same logo. There may be some same players. There may be some carryover from the coaching staff from last year's team, but this year's Miami team is not going to beat you throwing it.
Let's go. And I'll tell you, and Jordan, and I'll tell you this, man. That running back at the University of Miami, is his last name Fletcher, the Mark Fletcher kid?
Yep.
You watch the thing on him where he lost his father and he still texts his father, and he still, the other day in that Texas A&M game, you could tell that guy was a man with some purpose. He was running with purpose. And I think that's what they have to do. I think with that young man, if he can get some yardage and they can kind of take control of the game, with running the football and take a lot of pressure off Carson Beck, I think it turns into a different game then. I'm just not sure that Carson Beck, but if he's got Mark Fletcher helping him, I think that's going to be key in this game.
So let's go to New Year's Day. It's the Orange Bowl game at noon, and probably not many of you had this on your bingo card. Texas Tech and Oregon. Now, nationally, Oregon is the one that has gotten all the pub over the years because they've had about a 10, 12-year run now where they've been a national title contender. Texas Tech is the newbie. They're we're going to spend all the money, and this is one time where all that spending of money was for real. Kelly, I think if you go back and look, Indiana basically punished Oregon in the defeat in Eugene, where Oregon didn't get anything done on offense. And I kind of think that Texas Tech can do some of the same stuff. I think they're really good defensively.
Well, and that's what I said to Parker last year. I don't think people really understand, just how good Texas Tech is on defense. Like when you think of the Big 12 Conference, Parker, and you can back me up on this, but when you think of the Big 12 Conference, you don't think about defense. You think about this high throwing. Yeah, you think about scoring all these points. There's no defense being played, but that's what Texas Tech is now. They got the Rodriguez kid as the linebacker and then the David Bailey kid who can really rush the passer, and they've got guys on the back end that can do it. So I think this is going to be obviously Oregon's, they got beat earlier in the year by Indiana, who went to their place and beat them. But I think this is, it's probably the next toughest team, if not similar to Indiana, with them having to play. So it's going to be interesting to see how Dante Moore and the young men at Oregon stack up against this defense, because Texas Tech on defense is really good. They can get after the passer, they can turn you over, and they can stop you dead in your tracks. So it's going to be interesting to see because, Big 12, not known for defense, but the Red Raiders of Texas Tech and all that money you talked about they spent a lot of it on defense, and they're really good.
Kelly, Texas Tech, some metrics has the number one defense in the country. So yeah. I think this probably has the best chance of being the closest game, I think, out of the four of them. So what I think is so interesting about this is Texas Tech, the most rushing yards that they've allowed in one game this year was 140 to Kansas State. And I think Oregon is a much better team at running the football than Kansas State is. There's a little bit of truth to, well, you look at who Texas Tech has played, and they haven't exactly played a gauntlet, but they've limited the teams that they've played running the football. Oregon has had three of their starting receivers injured constantly throughout the year. So they've had to learn how to run the football, and they've been doing it with true freshmen back there. So I think the key to Oregon, if they want to win this football game, is run the football and run it effectively. If they run the football efficiently, I think they win this football game.
And I know you're big into stats, Parker, but if you look at Oregon, and they're like really consistent offensively all up and down the field, but where do they have problems? Punching the ball in the red zone. And that's where good defenses stop you. They some defenses, which I don't think Texas Tech is like this, but some teams are a bend but don't break. But when you get inside the 20 and you get into the red zone, that's when they stop you and they make you kick field goals. Well, that's been the bugaboo for Oregon this year. They've got explosive guys on the outside. Dante Moore has, it's amazing when you look at the stats on this stuff where he's only had like four interceptions the whole year. So I think was it 8 interceptions? It might have been 8 interceptions, but they can't punch it in. That was their problem. When they get into the red zone, they have trouble. And is that going to be a key in this game? We'll just have to see.
Well, same thing for Texas Tech. They especially against BYU.
That's right.
I mean, they've settled for field goals way too many times. So it sounds like from the looks at it, you really do some deep diving, and these teams are more similar than some give it credit for.
Yep.
See, I don't see that. I see Texas Tech as a really good defensive football team. And this may be very unfair because there may have been a level of boredom. Oregon's defense against James Madison was a joke. There's nothing similar about those two defenses at all.
Are you referring to the second half when they were playing their third stringers?
Well, I mean, let's face it. If you watch the game, James Madison had more moments offensively than you would have expected.
But that's I've told you this before, George. That's human nature. When you're going against an inferior opponent, you understand that you're going to win the game no matter what they're going to do. And then you come out. They were firing on all cylinders to begin the game. They scored in like 3 or 4 plays. They had some long shots. It's hard to keep, especially young teenagers or young 21, 22-year-old guys, to keep their focus when they know that they're going to win and they come out in the second half and they're like, they just show up to play, and then that happens. So it'll be a different type of game this week with Texas Tech and Oregon. I promise you that. Texas Tech is not as explosive as you think of these Big 12 offenses. On offense, are not as explosive as you think of a Big 12 team, but they counteract that with a great defense. So I think, and I'm like Parker, I think these teams are, I think Oregon's got a really good offense and they're going against a really good defense. I think Oregon's defense may be a little lacking. Texas Tech's offense is not as explosive as you would think a Big 12 team to be. So I think it's it's complimentary, and I think it's pretty close on this game.
Okay, we'll go to the break, and then when we come back, the two games that have got a lot of interest in this area. Alabama, Indiana in the Rose Bowl. Think about what I'm about to say. Indiana is a 7-point favorite. And you know what? I think that number may be low. The second game is just an old-fashioned Southern shootout. Georgia Bulldogs, Ole Miss Rebels in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. We'll talk about both of these games next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Here's David Levy of Levy's Men's and Women's Wear in Green Hills.
George, Levy's holiday collection is packed with bold looks, cozy favorites, and gifts that will make you and your loved ones smile. Come visit us at Levy's and let us help you celebrate the holidays in a relaxed, friendly atmosphere with plenty of front door parking, free gift wrap, and we are surprisingly affordable. Levy's, 3900 Hillsborough Pike, across from Virtus and behind Donut Den.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400. Way between Tennessee and Illinois down the road at Nissan Stadium. The national title playoff continues tomorrow night with one game, that being Ohio State and Miami. That's the Cotton Bowl. We mentioned earlier Oregon and Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. Now let's get to the two that people in the South are vitally interested in. Let's go with Alabama, Indiana in the Rose Bowl. That's a 3 o'clock Nashville time start. Kelly, I've kind of decided that unless Indiana, it's simply too big a moment for them, there's no reason they shouldn't win this game. They're better than Alabama.
I think you're right, George. I think that's hard to say. Is that not crazy to say Indiana is better than Alabama? You got a blue blood who's on a, Kurt Cignetti's second year at Indiana. He got them to the playoffs last year, but they weren't. They didn't have the guy at quarterback. They went out and got this guy, Fernando Mendoza, and they're in the national championship hunt. They won the Big Ten championship in that guy's second year, and it's just kind of amazing that Indiana, we say, is better than the University of Alabama this year. And I think you're absolutely correct with the way that Alabama's played. Now, last week, I will say this against Oklahoma at Oklahoma, I can't believe that they finally found a running game because Oklahoma's defense was elite. We talked about that. Offensively, they were struggling, but they got up to a 17-0 lead. And then everybody in the country was saying, Alabama did not deserve to be in this thing, and then Alabama rips off 27 unanswered points. But Alabama's just been so up and down. I think Ty Simpson's been hurt. I think he's been hurt that nobody really knows. And with watching their offense, George, it's amazing to me, and I've said this. I was just watching. I just read something today about Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer's offense and how good it is. Well, if you're asking me, when they played against Georgia in the SEC championship, and you don't have sight adjust or hot routes when they're bringing a cover zero blitz, and you keep doing it over and over and over again, well, you give this guy Kirby Smart, who's one of the smarter guys who learned from Nick Saban, and you don't. You do nothing about it. You don't change anything, and you give him confidence where him and his defensive coordinator are saying, well, they're not adjusting to anything, so we can bring as many guys as we want, and we can get to Ty Simpson. If they haven't changed that, which they did a little bit better job against Oklahoma, but still, they have got to be able to block guys up, and if you're not able to answer those questions in a game about blitz pickups, because if I was Kurt Cignetti and I was his defensive coordinator, I would bring so much pressure on Ty Simpson that I would smother him. That's what I would do, because if they hadn't fixed that, they're going to lose the game. But it's just kind of amazing that we're saying that Indiana is better than Alabama. And I think all around, you're absolutely right. Indiana is better than Alabama.
Kelly, if you would have told me, or if I would have told you 10 years ago, we fast forward, get in the time machine 10 years ago, and I'm saying, hey, Indiana and Alabama are going to play in the Rose Bowl in football, and Indiana is going to be favored by a touchdown, you might have called the police to put me in an insane asylum. So
absolutely.
So the thing about this is Alabama's not had a run game pretty much all year because Jam Miller was hurt at the start. Jam Miller's been banged up. They're not magically going to get one this time around against Indiana. The good thing, though, if we're looking at the positives here, Alabama bought them an extra week of rest after the Oklahoma game, which they desperately needed because Ty Simpson's banged up, Josh Cuevas, their tight end's banged up. Man, their offensive line has been atrocious. So they really need all the health that they can get. But, George, you are 100% right. Alabama has one way they're going to beat you, and that's through the air because they can't run the football. So if Ty Simpson plays to Ty Simpson's capability, if we get a healthy Ty Simpson, then I could see him keeping it close. But Indiana should win this football game.
But is it about Ty Simpson? Because to me, and you all tell me what you think here, it's Auburn that exposed all this. Auburn brought everybody but Pat Dye when they just blitzed the hell out of Alabama, and they got through too many times and made life miserable. Even though Alabama won the game, it took everything they had because every time it looked like they were getting control, here comes Auburn's blitz. And a week later, Georgia said, well, let's see if they fixed it. The answer was no.
No.
I guess this is an area that I'm mystified about them. I don't think it's on Ty Simpson. I think it's giving protection because the guy's pretty good.
It's kind of what I said, George. Like that's the thing in football that you have to have. A coach has to have answers for what you're doing to him. And if you don't have answers like that was the most shocking thing to me. Auburn has always been a hard game for Alabama, especially when you're at Jordan-Hare. It don't matter how good Alabama is and how bad Auburn is. Auburn still plays that game like it's their Super Bowl, and it's always a game down there. But like when I saw, and it was one play in particular, and I forget which one it was, but it was in the SEC championship game, and they brought out an all-out blitz, George, which means they've always got one more guy that you can protect. But they had Ryan Williams, and they put the camera right behind Ty Simpson, and Ryan Williams was trying to take a safety out because they were throwing a post. They were trying to throw a post to the outside guy, and Ryan Williams' job was to take the safety out. Well, both the linebackers came. They brought a zero blitz, so that means it's man-to-man outside. All he had to do was step off the line and just look at Ty Simpson, and he had a 10, 12-yard gain before the safety even got there. And he wasn't even looking for the ball. So that shows me that there's a lot of coaching going on, that you're not getting coached up about where the blitz is coming from. And that's another thing, too. I told somebody, Ty Simpson, and this is not his fault because you have to be coached about this, but his dad is a coach at UT Martin. And sometimes it looks like they've got so much on his plate, I'm sure. And I've told my son this before. You get occupied with one side of the football, and I've told you this because you know that you got what you want over there, but if you get your eyes to the left and you forget about what's going on the right side and you're not protected, and you forget about that side, then you're going to get hit dead in your mouth. And that's what I've seen Ty Simpson a couple of times. Like, he has no clue where the blitz is coming from. And that's a lot of the coaching that's going on. You have to have answers for these quarterbacks. And you're right, George, it's not Ty Simpson's fault. It's a coach's fault for not coaching him up. But when you got a guy running downfield wide open and the linebacker's disappearing, you're not looking for the ball, that's coaching right there. And that's getting extra hits on the quarterback because you don't have enough guys to protect. So Kirby Smart saw what Auburn did. He was not scared to bring people because he said, they're not throwing side adjust. And if you don't throw a side adjust and we got more guys than they can protect, you're in trouble. And that's what happened in that game.
Is there any scenario where this stage is too big for Indiana?
I don't know. I think they're built the right way. I really do. I'm sure Kurt Cinetti, like you hear the stories about Georgia and Kirby Smart and what they do at practice, and that their practice is a really lively practice, and not a lot of guys can take it. I think Kurt Cignetti's probably the same way. I think he gets those guys ready during the week. I think he's pretty rough on them, and then when it comes to the game, they're kind of used to it already. I don't think it's too big for them. I think if it was too big for them, they would not have won that Ohio State game. And like I said, I think they did a really good job, and I think they coached Fernando Mendoza like he was playing against the top-rated, like an NFL defense when he went against Ohio State. But I guarantee you those coaches in his position meetings and in offensive staff meetings, I guarantee you they told him, hey, they're solid, but there's going to be times in a game that they're going to give you some opportunities for take shots, and he was ready for that. He took those shots, and I think that's what's going to happen in the Alabama game.
If the Oregon game wasn't too big for them, if the Ohio State game wasn't too big enough, they handled business. So I agree with Kelly. Kurt Cignetti's had these guys ready to go since last season ended, whether that be in the weight room in January, whether that be in the film meeting rooms. They're going to be ready to go. I don't think this stage will be too big at all.
Google me, I win.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, on to the nightcap on Thursday. It's a Sugar Bowl all-Southern matchup of Georgia and Ole Miss. And we're all sitting there saying to ourselves, and rightfully so, that Georgia is a much improved football team. That appears to be the truth. But there was a point in Athens where Ole Miss looked like a considerably better football team than Georgia. Is it possible that plays out Thursday night?
Here's what I remember when Georgia and Ole Miss played earlier in the year. I can remember at the end of the game, the look in Lane Kiffin's face, and I'm sure y'all remember this, but I can remember it just sitting here right now because you can look into his eyes. You look and he says, "I thought we were there, but we're still not there." And I think that was the big reason that he left Ole Miss, to go to LSU because I think that he thinks that he got Ole Miss to the place where they got, but I don't think he thinks he can beat the Georgia and the Alabamas of the world at Ole Miss. And I think that's what you're struggling with. Now, will Pete Golding bring a new attitude towards these guys, bring a new mentality towards these guys? I'm not sure, but I think just looking at Lane Kiffin's face, I think that he knew deep down in that game that he didn't have the personnel to beat Georgia, and I think that's where they stand right now. I don't think they got that personnel. I think they're close, but I don't think they're there. I don't know. Now, Trinidad Chambliss has played really good the whole year for him. The Division II guy that came up, that he won the national championship at Ferris State, he's played really, really well for those guys. But I think when it gets this time of year, I think Georgia has now got the same lure as Alabama had, where you get them to this time of year and everybody says, oh boy, I'm playing Georgia. And I think Tony said it correctly. He said that the Georgia team that UT played earlier in the year is not the same Georgia team, and that's what you want every team being. You want to be trending upwards, and I think Georgia is, and I think they have that mentality. I don't think Gunnar Stockton's the greatest quarterback in the world, but I think that dude is kind of exemplifies what Georgia is. They're tough, they're hard-nosed, and when the game's on the line, they find a way to win. And I think that's what you get each and every week with this team.
Kelly, I'm sure there are some listeners out here that are listening to us break down this game, and they think their life is hard. And I'd like to challenge those people to go to a Georgia practice and tell me that your life is hard. Because I have a buddy who coaches down there, and he fills me in on what the practices are like. It is one of the more intense things that I think I've ever heard in my life. So the tale is old as time. If you want to kill the snake, right, you got to cut its head off, because if you try to pick it up, it's going to bite you. Ole Miss had a lead in Athens. They had a lead in that shootout, and they lost it because they were playing around with their food. With Georgia, they show that they're capable of winning a slugfest, and they're capable of winning a shootout. They did it versus Ole Miss. I think they scored on every single possession against Ole Miss. Gunnar Stockton showed that he had the ability to be multiple. So I think Ole Miss does have the personnel. Do I think that they're going to beat Georgia in January? Absolutely not.
Weren't we saying the same thing a year ago when Notre Dame basically stacked up at the line of scrimmage with them?
Yeah.
And isn't that ultimately the point, that for Ole Miss to win, they've got to stack up at the line of scrimmage? I think they can do it offensively. Kelly, I'm not convinced they can do it on the defensive end.
Yeah, see, I don't know that either, George, but it was like in the Indiana game. I remember when Ohio State got down to the goal line, Ohio State said, Indiana said, forget it. We're putting all 10 guys up. We're going to leave, I think it was Pons out there one-on-one with Jeremiah Smith, and they said, hey, you're not going to run the ball, and that's exactly what they did, and they stopped those guys, and then the Pons kid made a couple plays. I think if you're Ole Miss, you got to take what they do best away, and I think that you got to make Gunnar Stockton throw the football from the pocket, and I think Georgia kind of wants to smash mouth you, run the football. I think they want to use Gunnar Stockton in the run game too, but pick your poison. I don't know. I'm with Parker. I think that Georgia's been in this situation so many times, and Ole Miss has not, and I just think the experience that Georgia has being in these big-time games, these big-time situations, I think they're built for this, and I think Kirby Smart has made them built for this. And I think when it gets in a key point in the game, is Ole Miss going to believe, or are they going to falter to this is Georgia, we can't beat them? That's what I think it's going to come down to.
Okay, let me try it this way. Alabama, 7-point dog to Indiana. Ole Miss, 7-point dog to Georgia. Miami, about a 10-point dog to Ohio State. Which of those three has the best chance to win?
I'm just going to say I'm probably going to say Alabama. That's kind of who I think. I don't think Miami has the firepower. I think defensively they're pretty good, but I don't think they have the firepower to stay up with Ohio State if Ohio State starts scoring points. I don't know if they will. I don't think. I think Georgia. I think Tony was totally right. I think Georgia is trending in the right way, and I just think they've got the national championship mentality. They've won it twice with Kirby Smart. They've been there. It seems like every year. And I just think they're mentally tough, and I just don't think Ole Miss can beat them. I think Alabama, I think if they do some things right, and I think if they can get Indiana thinking about things, then I think tradition from Alabama kind of holds firm, and I think Alabama has a shot to beat them. I don't think the other ones do.
Yeah, no, I'm with Kelly on this one. I don't think it's been a great run for Ole Miss, and I've been very happy as a fan to watch this run that they've been on, and I wish them the best because I know they lost their head coach, but they have not been in this situation before. Georgia has been here multiple times, so I think Georgia's going to win that one. I could see Miami keeping it close with Ohio State, but I just think Ohio State's a much better team. If any upset were to happen out of the three that you mentioned, I think it would be Alabama, due to how explosive that offensive pass game could be. And also if Ryan Williams is able to get his head out of his butt, that's another added factor. Doesn't drop the football. I think that's another added factor. The Indiana secondary, I don't think they're ready for a Latsier Brooks, Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams combination.
What is Ryan Williams' deal, though? I mean, this guy's got all the talent in the world, and it's just one drop after another.
I think it's purely from the neck up. That's what I think.
Yep. It's confidence. He's had a couple of drops, and I think he's leading the country in drops this year. So it's hard. Like I can remember, I had a buddy who I was a really good friends with the Colts, that was a really good pass. You know, he caught the ball. He was always standing out, but he got into a slump. It's like a Henner slump, George. You know this. And when you start dropping balls, it starts making its way into your mind, and then you start kind of losing confidence, and there's something that you got to do to get it back. But like, he played really well last year, Ryan Williams did, but this year he just has not. And Jeremy Bernard is the guy. Like he's not as fast as Ryan Williams, but like he's one of those guys that you want on your team as a quarterback, and he's going to be a really good NFL player because he's strong with the ball, and he makes people miss. He gets yards after catch, and he's one of those guys. But getting back to Ryan Williams, it's kind of a confidence thing, and once you lose it, sometimes it's tough to get it back, and he's got to make some plays early to get his confidence going where he knows that he can catch the ball again.
And it's a little bit different too because, you know, in the old days there's still a lot of pressure and when I say old days, pre-NIL, pre-transfer portal. Now you're getting millions of dollars thrown around at these athletes, and Alabama has these such high expectations already, and you factor in the Kalen DeBoer drama, and there's so much pressure and the social media age that it is much tougher to get that confidence back.
People don't understand that, George, and that's what I've said about it's always great in the National Football League to get a $150 million contract, but guess what? Expectations comes with that, and sometimes guys cannot handle that, and now you're giving it to 19, 20, 21-year-old kids who are getting $4.5 million. Yeah, who you giving $4.5 million, and now when you start forgetting about what got you there playing ball, and you start thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to start playing up to my ability, and I got to start playing up to this money. That never works because sometimes expectations are tough, and when you start getting paid all that money, sometimes that money ain't great. You know, it's great to get it, but now the expectations become even higher.
Kelly, I know the feeling of the expectations because people have expectations for me to deliver, you know, at the end of 2025, because God knows at no other point this year have we delivered. So here goes. You ready?
Okay.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just started, so bear with me here. I'm taking.
You can't do it. You can't do it. You got on to me for one day because you said that game had already started. You can't do it.
Yeah, but you're using some scenarios that are unfair. We're taking Tennessee minus 2.5 in the Music City Bowl game against Illinois. I just think there is a speed difference between the two teams, and ultimately speed is what will win and carry the day in a high-scoring game. I'm going to take Vandy in what has been kind of a magical season for them where everything seems to have gone right. And I'm going to take them minus the 4 against Iowa. It'll be interesting to see if Vandy forces Iowa to do things offensively. The lower scoring the game, the more it favors Iowa. Higher scoring, that means they got to get off their you-know-what and get on with it offensively. But now let's get to the playoff games. This one's hard. I'm taking Ohio State. I'm going to take Ohio State, even though it's a double-digit deal, because in the end, I don't believe in Carson Beck. I want to believe in him, but there are too many gaps in his game. The Carson Beck that beat Notre Dame, well, that's a different story. The problem is we don't see that enough. Kelly, Orange Bowl, Texas Tech. I'm taking him. Go Red Raiders. How about that? You know why?
Hey, Parker's upset at you right now.
Yeah, you can see the blood pressure boiling.
I don't care what he thinks. Because in the end, Parker's record, just like Billy, that week Billy tried to do that. But then the next week, you never saw Billy's record, did you?
No.
All the credit, none of the blame. That's how I roll.
Young William. I'm taking Texas Tech because I think they're going to punch Oregon in the mouth and do a little bit of what Indiana did to Oregon, which is beat them up at the line of scrimmage. I'm going Indiana. I think Indiana wins this game in double digits. I think they're just a considerably better football team than Alabama. But if the game is close late, then you got to start to favor Alabama. Indiana, other than the Ohio State and the Penn State, hadn't played in a lot of close ones. And I'm like you all, I'm going Georgia. Georgia just simply wins at the line of scrimmage, and those are the facts.
George, I got a question for you. How much does Eli Stowers sitting out this game hurt Vanderbilt?
I don't think it helps, but if you look at the weapons that they have used, as the season went along, there became more and more different people that started to pitch in for them. Yeah, it doesn't help them. I don't think it's as big a loss as it would have been in September.
Okay, gotcha.
Are we done?
We are done.
We're done. Listen, we'll be back with you on Friday, which will be 2026. And man, that is weird to say and kind of a weird feeling. All of you have a happy new year. If you're out and about, drive safely because we want you back on Friday on the George Plaster Show.